Hello, my name is Judy, and today we're going to make homemade cornmeal mix. So let's get started. So the first thing we need to do is preheat our oven at 450 degrees. Now we're going to add oil to our pan. Now I use bacon grease. You can use the oil of your choice. I'm going to use about a teaspoon of bacon grease per muffin. Cornbread was the first thing my mother taught me to make. I believe I was 12. It's a long time ago. We always used cornbread, kind of like biscuits, and for every supper we had cornbread or biscuits. And we always made muffins because we all liked the crunchy part of the cornbread. So let's use that last little bit. Now we're going to get it in the oven so the bacon grease can melt and be good and hot. So for our cornmeal mix, I used the corn we grew in our garden, Trucker's favorite. Grind that up. And we're going to need 1 3/4 cups of sifted cornmeal. Now we're going to add 1/4 cup of self-rising flour. One tablespoon of baking powder. One-fourth teaspoon of baking soda. 1 1/2 teaspoons of salt. I use Redmond's real salt. 1 teaspoon of sugar, and I use cane sugar. And this is your homemade cornmeal mix. Now for our cornmeal mixture, we're going to add the ingredients. We're going to add 2 tablespoons of oil. I use avocado oil. One egg. That's farm fresh egg. I have chickens. You'll see how bright that yolk is. And our last ingredient is buttermilk. And we'll add 1 cup of buttermilk. Now this is a salty cornbread recipe. It's not a sweet or cake-like recipe. So we want to stir this up really good. Make sure we have no dry pockets of cornmeal. Make sure everything's good and wet. Looks like that has it. So our oven is preheated. We'll take our muffin tin out. The bacon grease is good and hot. So when you scoop it in, be careful that it doesn't splash up on you. That would not feel lovely. You hear that sizzle? I'm just spooning that mixture into each of the little muffins. This recipe does make 12. I may have to readjust as I go. Sometimes I overfill or underfill a muffin, but you can make it right at the end. And you scoop it all in there. Now, if we ever had too much cornbread mixture, we would either feed it to our dogs. If you have too little, just put a little water in the muffin that's going to be empty, the muffin tin part that's going to be empty. And you can still just put it in there and bake it. You keep that grease from getting too hot or splattering up when the rest of it's baking. You can already see I have overfilled a few. So I will make it right at the end. Scraping out all the last bit of goodness. Now, growing up, we always just used the cornmeal mix we got from the store. But I got this recipe from my dad a couple of years ago. And it is our favorite when we make the mix ourselves. So we're going to put this back in the oven, bake it at 450 degrees for about 15 minutes. Okay, so it's time to pull it out. It's ready. I've cut my oven off and we're going to pull out the cornbread. See how it looks. You see it's nice and golden brown around the edges. I just use a fork to scoop it out on my plate. You see there's lots of crunchy. That's why we like the muffins. And here's our pan of cornbread. I want to take one of those and cut it open so you can see the inside. It's a little hot. It would be easier for me to put that down. There you go. I hope you try this recipe. Let me know if you tried it in the comments and what you thought about it. Now I want to show you what else we would do with our cornbread. We're going to use butter and sugarcane syrup. So I'm going to scoop out the middle of that cornbread. Going to drop just a little bit of butter in the bottom. And drizzle in some sugarcane syrup. Put that top back on. And this was just always a nice tasty treat. I'm going to cut that open so you can see what it looks like in the middle. And cornbread soaks up most of the butter and the sugarcane syrup. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please like and share.